Good morning, everybody. Good morning to all of you joining us here in the chapel today, and to those who are joining us online. This is Eastrose Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. My name is Patty Walsh, and I am the worship leader for today. Our speaker will be our own Reverend Katie Larcell, and she'll be speaking on the topic, good versus healthy. So I'm going to take this moment now to remind you to turn off or completely silence your cell phone and all the other things that go ding, whatever they may be. It has actually happened to me during the service that I got a call, so I'm like a little sensitive to this thing here. Let's see. After our service today, we will be having coffee and tea in the back, so please join us. And I especially want to welcome first-time visitors. Eastrose sits on the occupied lands of the Clackamas Chinook people who were forcibly displaced from this land to the Grand Ronde Reservation in 1855. We acknowledge the sacrifice endured by the ancestors of this land, and that our presence here today is only possible because of the injustices committed against them. We recognize the inherent sovereignty of the Chinook Nation and the Confederated Tribes of the Grand Ronde, who carry on the traditions, history, and legacy held by their ancestors from time immemorial to this day. We seek meaningful relationships with these communities that will foster repair. So let us now take a moment to greet each other, and both here in the chapel and online. So first, please stand, face the back of the room, and wave hello to our friends joining us on the internet. Cameras near the clock. So I see it's going to be a really good coffee hour today. Okay. To our online guests, if you would like to share a joy or sorrow during that part of the service, please enter it in the YouTube chat, and somebody will bring it up and share it with the congregation. I also encourage you to identify yourself in the chat so we can better acknowledge your presence here with us today. I now invite you to join us in the responsive call to worship. Words will appear on the screen. I do the gold, you do the white. This can also be found in the hymnal. It is number 645, Song of the Open Road. Afoot and light-hearted, I take to the open road, healthy, free, the world before me.
Henceforth I ask not good fortune, I myself am good fortune. Strong and contented, I travel the open road.
I inhale great draughts of space. The east and the west are mine, and the north and the south are mine.
All seems beautiful to me. I can repeat over to men and women, You have done such good to me. I would do the same to you.
Whoever you are, come travel with me. However sweet these laid-up stores, however convenient this dwelling, we cannot remain here.
However sheltered this port, and however calm these waters, we must not anchor here.
Together, the inducements shall be greater. We will sail pathless and wild seas.
We will go where winds blow, waves dash, and the Yankee clipper speeds by under full sail.
Forward, after the great companions, and to belong to them. They too are on the road.
Onward to that which is endless, as it was beginningless, to undergo much trance of days, rest of nights.
To see nothing anywhere but what you may reach it and pass it. To look up or down, no road, but it stretches and waits for you.
To know the universe itself as a road, as many roads, as roads for traveling souls.
Reverend Katie will now light the chalice. These are the words of Eric Heller Wagner. Blessed is the fire that burns deep in the soul. It is the flame of the human spirit, touched into being by the mystery of life. It is the fire of reason, the fire of compassion, the fire of community, the fire of justice, the fire of faith. It is the fire of love burning deep in the human heart, the divine glow in every life.
Let us, we need a slide. Let us come together in worship and begin with our mission and vision of Eastrose. Pay attention to the words we use to express our best efforts. We say courageously. So yes, we have courage in our mission as it's the first meaty word that we run into. And love is our mission as a destination. Justice is there. Justice is love in action. And also we have bright and tender words of connection with each other and the world. We have listen, engage, nurture, and act. And then returning as a nest, we are asked to love and justice. And we line that nest with a bedrock of equality. One of my favorite words is there, respect, which I could say all day long. Respect, respect, respect. So much we want for ourselves and for our association together. Let us worship, holding these words as if in a basket, as if they were food that we share with each other.
Please join us in singing the opening hymn, number 1008 in the Teal hymnal. Rise as you are willing and able. Words will be on the screen. Tara Toller, our family coordinator, will come forward now and do the story with the kids.
Thank you, Keem. Good morning. Today we're wondering about what it means to be good. Sometimes we try really hard to do everything right. Follow the rules, don't mess up, make everyone happy. But sometimes that can feel like a lot. Today's story is about an egg who tries very, very hard to be good, maybe a little too good. Today's story is The Good Egg, written by Jory John and illustrated by Pete Oswald. Oh, hello. I was just rescuing this cat. Know why? Because I'm a good egg. A very good egg. It's true. I do all kinds of good things, like I'll carry your groceries, I'll water your plants, I'll change your tires, I'll paint your house. If you need any help whatsoever, I'm your egg. I've always been a good egg. It's been this way from the start, even in my earliest days back at the store. There were a dozen of us living together under one recycled roof. There was Meg and Peg and Greg and Clegg and Shell and Shelley and Sheldon and Shelby and Egbert and Frank and other Frank. The other 11 eggs weren't on their best behavior. They weren't exactly good. They ignored their bedtime. They only ate sugary cereal. They threw tantrums. They cried for no reason. They broke their stuff on purpose. Meanwhile, I tried to take charge. I tried to fix their bad behavior. I tried to keep the peace because I was a good egg, a very good egg. Nobody seemed to care, though. Every night, I was exhausted. My head felt scrambled. Then one fateful morning, I noticed some cracks in my shell. They were everywhere. My doctor said it was from all the pressure I was putting on myself, the pressure of making sure everybody was as good as me. I was cracking up, literally. Something had to change. I'd had enough. I told Meg and Peg and Greg and Clegg and Shell and Shelley and Sheldon and Shelby and Egbert and Frank and other Frank that I was leaving. I can't be the only egg in a bad carton, I said. Blah, 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 they replied. I left that night. I wandered from town to town. The hours became days. The days became weeks. I lost track of time. I was alone. Out there on the road under the stars, I really tried to focus on myself and what I needed. I took walks, I read books, I floated in the river, I wrote in my journal. I found simple moments to be quiet. I breathed in, I breathed out. I even started painting. For once, I found time for me. And guess what? Little by little, the cracks in my shell started to heal. My head no longer felt scrambled. I started to feel like myself again. So I've made a big decision. I'm returning to my old carton and my friends. Besides, I'm kind of lonely out here. This time, I know what I need to do. I'll try not to worry so much. I'll be good to my fellow eggs while also being good to myself. Here we go. Everybody missed me. I missed them too. Sure, every once in a while, somebody's still a little bit bad, but it's not like before. Here's what I realized. The other eggs aren't perfect, and I don't have to be either. I'm okay with that. Yep, the old carton is back together. We're a solid dozen again. It's good to be home. Sometimes we try so hard to do everything right that we forget to take care of ourselves. May we remember that we don't have to be perfect to be good. So now we're going to say goodbye to the adults who are going to continue the conversation, and we'll head back to Ari. If the adults along the center aisle will form a bridge, we'll sing the children out.
We hold you in
is our time for silent and spoken meditation. And let me just say the names that were lifted up. There was Patrice, there was Jean M., and there was a cat named Malone. And as you go into your meditation, you can meditate on those people and entities, or you may just feel your breath. I advise you to start by making sure your feet are flat on the floor. Take a cleansing breath. And another one. And another one. Now gently on yourselves, open your eyes. You reconnect with the room. We have a quiet song to sing. Don't feel like you have to belt it out. The words will be up here. It's if you like to use the books, it's 1031, Filled with Loving Kindness. What a lovely song. And thank you, Barbara. I just love the way Barbara plays. And here's a reading by Maya Angelou. It's called A Brave and Startling Truth, and I have respectfully shortened it for you. The whole thing is wonderful, but it's very long. We, this people, on a small and lonely planet, traveling through casual space, past aloof stars, across the way of indifferent suns, to a destination where all signs tell us it is possible and imperative that we learn a brave and startling truth. And when we come to it, to the day of peacemaking, when we release our fingers from fists of hostility and allow the pure air to cool our palms, when we come to it, when the curtain falls on the minstrel show of hate and faces suited with scorn are scrubbed clean, when battlefields and coliseums no longer take our unique and particular sons and daughters up with the bruised and bloody grass to lie in identical plots in foreign soil. When the rapacious storming of the churches, the screaming racket in the temples have ceased, when the pennants are waving gaily, when the banners of the world tremble stoutly in the good, clean breeze, when we come to it, we, this people, on this minuscule and kilfless globe, who reach daily for the bomb, the blade, and the dagger, yet who petition in the dark for tokens of peace, we, this people, on this mote of matter, in whose mouths abide cankerous words which challenge our very existence, yet out of those same mouths come songs of such exquisite sweetness that the heart falters in its labor and the body is quieted into awe. When we come to it, we, this people, on this wayward floating body, created on this earth of this earth, have the power to fashion for this earth a climate where every man and every woman can live freely without sanctimonious piety, without crippling fear. When we come to it, we must confess that we are the possible, we are the miraculous, the true wonder of this world. That is, when and only when we come to it. All right, so I wanted to talk to you today about some ideas that have come into my life recently. Now, let's start with Father Gregory Boyle. He's the head of Homeboy Enterprises. So some of you may know about Homeboy. It was started in the 1980s by Father Gregory Boyle. He's a Catholic Jesuit priest. And he was pastoring a Los Angeles Catholic church in a gang-ridden neighborhood. He talked with members of his community, gang members and former gang members, and the families that they have attached to them. They can't get jobs because they have felony records and large visible tattoos, you know, on the neck, in your face kind of tattoos. So he started Homeboy as a place where gang members could get jobs. Homeboy started out as a bakery, and it has grown since then to become an enterprise, a multi-million-dollar enterprise. Father Boyle is a popular speaker and flies all over the country speaking, raising money for homeboys, and supporting new Homeboy branches in other cities besides Los Angeles. In fact, he and Homeboy are quite respectable now, but it wasn't always so. To begin, lots of people didn't think gangbangers were worth saving. It isn't hard to make the case that these are bad guys. Their tattoos sometimes show how many people they have killed. They sell drugs and take drugs, and often are abusive and neglective parents and spouses. In the beginning, it was, do you really want to buy a cake from these guys? And a lot of people kind of answered no. They should be put in jail, locked up, and then you should lose the key. Homeboys Enterprises was started to give gang members jobs, but it turned out that this attitude that gang members are bad men and some women was the real startup struggle in running the enterprise. Perhaps the most innovative thing that Father Boyle did, it wasn't the jobs, was he decided to run Homeboys on 2 principles. Slide. Yes, the jobs were important. The addiction services and the tattoo removal was important. But the heart of the enterprise were these 2 principles. Everyone is unshakably good. And this is the hard part. No exceptions. And we belong to each other. Again, the hard part. No exceptions. These 2 principles of love acted like dominoes. If you really believe that everyone is unshakably good, no exceptions, and we belong to each other, no exceptions, and you run a company using that as your working principle, some dominoes are going to fall. And when I say dominoes are going to fall, I mean some beliefs you have that you didn't even know you had have to go. Because when that front domino pushes on it, the other dominoes just have to go over. And sometimes you can be surprised at some ideas that you have to get rid of. Father Boyle, who is committed to running an actual business based on the 2 principles, found some standard business practices no longer worked. At Homeboys, nobody gets fired. It isn't like there are no consequences to bad behavior. They don't let them work when they are high or abusive, and at some point, they aren't allowed on the Homeboy campus if they just keep it up. They get invited to drug or alcohol rehab or anger management or whatever they need, and when they are ready, when they are healthy enough, they can come back. Sometimes it is actually years later before they return. No one is ever punished. Many Homeboy members have been to prison. They were punished all day long, every day, and it just made them worse. The language at Homeboys is about love, health, and wholeness. Oh, and God. He's a priest. The idea of wholeness takes the place, really, of goodness. It takes all of that language of goodness out, and it's all about health. Because why talk about it if you're already good? Gang members have to work with members of rival gangs. The gang allegiance cannot be carried across the threshold. After all, they belong to each other as much as themselves. Now, these 2 principles of love, everyone is unshakably good, no exceptions, and we belong to each other, no exceptions, can be found in most large, well-established religions. They are certainly part of Christianity. They're inherent in the claim that we are born in the image and likeness of God. And they are also part of my Zen Buddhist practice, where I take comfort in that idea of everyone having a Buddha nature. Enlightenment, that is when you actually realize your Buddha nature. But established religions don't stress test their belief in inherent goodness so directly as they do at Homeboy. Homeboy puts rival gang members together and insists they love each other, love themselves, love the people around them, and those who have harmed them. Love the people at Homeboys that they just don't like. Religious institutions will sometimes try and run monasteries that way, but honestly, this is pretty audacious. Religious teachings have that one fault, don't you think? Writing a sermon, listening to wise teachings can make you think and sometimes embrace a new way of approaching your life, but it isn't the same as living it or committing to it. And sometimes, talking about gang members up here, well, it seems a little far away from your own life, possibly, probably, when I affirm those principles of love, can you really believe it? Or do you think, can I get out of it? Or can I fake it? Or can I just skim along the top of it? I recently had a real-life stress test of those principles in my family's life. Now, when our kids were young, and I'll be trying to be careful about using names, etc., on this story, because it's a real story. When our kids were young, we had one friend of theirs who hung out with us a lot. He was our youngest son's good friend since kindergarten, and he got close to Michael and I. We thought of him as a young friend of ours eventually. We stayed in touch through his college and professional successes, and he was having professional successes. I would kind of congratulate myself and Michael on that, proud that we had been the kind of family that could expand to bring him in. Our young friend had a rough background, but I was thinking, look how well he's doing, and maybe we had some small part in that. But we started to see cracks in the story of our friend. Sometimes our friend would tell us stories himself that didn't add up, especially about car accidents and firings, changes in jobs. Michael would notice it more than I did, but I didn't really think that it was our job to check up on his stories. Frankly, he was great to talk to. He was quick-witted, and full of fun, and I would make the usual excuses for him. He's young and still learning. But the cracks kept widening. Our youngest son finally warned us and said he had cut his friend off and wouldn't take his calls. Our friend changed jobs and got fired again. And then he started showing visible signs of mental disorder. He had 2 psychotic breaks from reality. We tried to help him the first time, but he was evasive. Yes, I'm getting help. But we wouldn't hear any details, and he always just seemed to be stuck on getting help, but not being helped. Now, anyone out there who has a friend or a relative experiencing mental illness and/or addiction may have a similar story. Trying to get an adult help with mental illness when they want it is so frustrating, frankly, it is impossible. When they don't want it is what I meant to say. You can't, it just doesn't happen until they want it. Even if you are family, you have no rights, and we weren't even family, officially. Then our friend had a second psychotic break, and this time he fired a weapon in public and was taken to an emergency psychiatric ward by the police. He came out of the hospital and tried to extort money from me on the phone. Then several nights later, he came to our house at 2 a.m. Michael and I were sound asleep, but I can still remember that night pretty vividly. I woke up disoriented, hearing the phone ring. Then I could hear our friend's voice on our home phone, on the voicemail. At that point, I was mostly mad. It was the middle of the friggin' night. But then something clued me that, oh my God, he is right outside, parked in our driveway. I could hear his voice recording on her phone and in a weird echo, I could hear his voice outside at the same time. And then he was pounding on our door. He ran around the house and kicked in the back door. There was a window inset in the door, and he kicked that window in. We could hear the thud and crash of it in the basement. Our alarm went off right then. Michael was awake, and he had pushed the panic button. Our friend left when the alarm came on. I was dialing 911, but I tell you, when you're in the middle of something like that, it takes a long time to remember those numbers and to get that finger to move and hit the right numbers. Not able to think, act, or even move at any kind of speed. The police came relatively quickly, and we walked through our freezing house as if we were ghosts and showed them what had happened. They left. Michael managed to get enough cardboard on the door to keep the cold out and fool the sensors so that we could go back to bed. But the door wouldn't have kept anyone out at that point. It was just taped over cardboard where the window used to be. So what do you think or you feel after something like that happens? I tell you, I was very numb. And what happens to a relationship that started 20 plus years ago when our friend was 7 years old? I really didn't know how to process it or think about it, feel about it. I kept kind of just putting it aside. You'd think a minister would just instantly know how to feel and do what she should do, but I didn't. And there was a lot of pressure from the family to think this way or that way. I just recently read Gregory Boyle's book about the homeboy and the constant amount of pain and rupture that they deal with. And I thought, At first it was just, But then I found myself going back to that idea over and over and over. And I tell you, it has really helped me. It's actually a comfort to view my friend through the lens of health rather than goodness. And just take goodness, and is he still connected to me, just off the table? No, it's about health. It's all about health. He's unshakably good, and he belongs to us. But he isn't healthy or whole, and right now is potentially dangerous. And like the rules of Homeboy Enterprise, he needs to be healthy enough to be safe to live with in community. He needs to engage with us without evasion and be open about his life before we can be friends again. And as they say at Homeboy, come back when you are taking the steps you need to be healthy. So if you have someone like that in your life, regarding them through the lens of wholeness and health can help. I would say also just somebody in your life that's an ornery pain in the ass, not so serious as the story I just told, is also this is a good lens to look through. I think it's a good lens for so many situations. It didn't help me to think of our friend as evil or as a bad person or irredeemable, but it helps me a lot to think in terms of health. So this idea of love can be used at any scale. When I say that, I mean it can be on the personal level, it can be on the organization, it can be on the planet level, it can be on the nation level. Man, maybe we could use that on our nation, right? And it can be on the organizational level. And when I started writing this, I started thinking about Eastrose, really. I wonder if this way of thinking about community and relationships, and honestly, that's why this sermon and the whole service is sprinkled with Eastrose's documents. Because I started thinking about this as Eastrose transitions to lay-led leadership. I know there's nervousness and some worry about that. I think you hear from people that, Eastrose has been without ministers a lot of times, probably more than half the time. It actually started as a lay-led fellowship in the 50s. But maybe that doesn't comfort you to hear that. Another way of thinking about it, so consider thinking about Eastrose instead of with a minister or without a minister. Instead, think about how healthy is Eastrose as it goes through this transition. Focus on its health, because we're all good, we're all connected. You don't even have to talk about that, but we're not all healthy, and Eastrose isn't always healthy. So you can be healthy or unhealthy in a congregation with or without a minister. So when I was putting this sermon together, I went looking for Eastrose's foundational documents and found Eastrose's mission, vision, and covenant. I think that's up there, and I used it earlier today. And then there's the covenant, which is the next slide, which is very long, and I'm not going to read it to you. But it's, there are, the lines on there are all about different ways we pledge to treat one another. They focus on behaviors, but under it all is the value of love. One way for Eastrose to remain a healthy community is to keep this covenant in mind. A covenant is a way to operate, but it is also a way to assess yourselves. Are we living according to our covenant? Which is basically like saying, are we living in love? Use it when you are struggling with an issue or a relationship as a whole church and also between individuals. There is this wonderful line at the very bottom of the covenant. Yeah, there we go. Oh, it's so tiny. Well, I'll read it. There it is. Strives to give others and ourselves in times, we covenant to strive to give others and ourselves in times of failure, to continue in community and begin again with love and faith. That is a really beautiful way to end the covenant, I think. It states that you are not going to give up on each other. I haven't given up on my friend or stopped loving him. And then finally, let's look at this new symbol of Unitarian Universalists, which, I think when that was put together, there was a lot of discussion and some angst, etc. But, it was accepted. And the best thing about that symbol is that it's got love directly in the center. Heck, who cares what's around the side? Well, of course you care what's around the side, but you wouldn't want to put Nazism or something. But it's really just, but as a symbol, it's quite beautiful. And every time I look at it, I'm inspired by it. Eastrose represents the gift of a loving community. How many loving communities are out there? Seriously. Not enough. Fewer all the time, unfortunately. I want to ask you, I'm going to tell you, be one. Be proud of what you offer and live fully and healthfully into the future. You are so needed, and you are the ones that can do it. And so, may it be so. Amen. And now we will sing a song, which John's going to show us. We'll Build the Land, one of my favorite hymns, 121. You want to stand?
In that spirit of love and generosity, it is now time for the Sunday offering. We share half of the cash offering with a local organization doing good works in the community. Portland Immigrant Rights Coalition is our Sharing the Bounty partner from March through August. They work to empower immigrants, unite families, and build a just community. PIRC, its initials, maintains a hotline to report ICE activity, provides referrals to legal aid and social services, trains rapid response Migra watches, and maintains a daily presence at the Portland Immigration Court and ICE buildings. If you are attending online, you may choose to donate by visiting our webpage and clicking the donate button. Or you can scan the QR code that you see on the screen. If you are here for the first time, we invite you to let the basket pass and truly be our guests. Also, if you're in the chapel, you can use the QR code. So the offering will now be gratefully received, and as I frequently do, I forgot to recruit basket people. So, yes, and Jan. Please remain seated and sing with us our song of gratitude. It's number 1010 in the Teal hymnal, "We Give Thanks," and the words will be on the screen.
We extinguish this chalice, realizing we are stuffed to the gills with ideas and impressions, feelings and connections, smiles and flowers, and perhaps even some good intentions. Take these all home and allow them to percolate in your hearts and minds. Allow yourself to humbly change in the direction of wisdom.
And now it is time for announcements. And this is a good one. It's a big one. It's for today. Today is the last day to order your flower baskets. Yes, so go do it. There are links. Let's see. I'm going to actually read it. See Karen Wolfgang for online or paper orders, a form to pay or with any other questions. Have a beautiful spring. These baskets are really lovely. Go ahead and get some. And that is it for announcements. I should probably also remind folks that Easter is coming up. So, and your turn.
My turn.
Yes, it was very fast.
Is it? It's my turn for what?
To do the benediction.
Oh, okay. Go out into the world in peace. Have courage. Hold on to what is good. Return to no person evil for evil. Strengthen the faint-hearted. Support the weak. Help the suffering. Honor all beings. Anything else?
The service has ended. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for everybody who made this possible. Please remain seated to enjoy the postlude, and then after that, it'll be time to join us for coffee, tea, and conversation in the Thatcher Room, which is all the way in the back. Thank you.